breaking through the wall of cult following into the mainstream rivers of the internet. You could even say he commands a large enough fan base to be considered a different fandom to creepypastas in some aspects. But before we delve into the true origin of this character, let's take a look at his lore. Starting with the star of the show himself, Slenderman has been described with an array of abilities, originally starting with just tendrils streaming from his back, ability to psychologically break people, to selectively be invisible to certain people, and the ability to teleport. Nowadays, due to all the stories and adaptations, he has a few more assumed abilities like proxies, whatever they are. His original actions would be to stalk his victims, causing them to doubt the very fabric of reality itself, usually by making himself visible for enough time for someone to register he's there, but not enough to confirm it. A very less is more approach, rather than charge in and brutally murder someone. It was also very unknown what Slenderman actually did to his victims, often leading to disappearances rather than mutilated bodies. Also, by distorting electronic equipment, he makes it very hard for anyone to document his actual existence. One of the main changes that happened over the time is that Slenderman used to almost exclusively stalk and victimize children indiscriminately, but nowadays he's seen to choose anyone of any age at seemingly random. There are many references to beings similar to Slenderman through the ages, starting with Europe's fairies. No, not the Tinkerbell kind, the spelling's different. Where some fairies were kind in nature, there were some who were cruel. Fairies have been known to kidnap children, cause disease, and put people in a trance, even succumb them to mind control, have odd features, be visible to certain people, teleport, and even trick people into trusting them before leading them to their demise. These traits line up well with the Slenderman that we hear about today. The next, and one of the most notable historic mythos that lines up with Slenderman, is the German's the Grossman. The Grossman translates to the Great Man or the Tall Man, and is a sort of German boogeyman. He's described as a fairy of the Black Forest, lining up with one of the original mythos of Slenderman, that he often stalks forests rather than cities or towns. Here, he would take away bad children who entered the forest at night and stalk them until the naughty child confessed their ill behaviours to their parents. A notable source that is also from Germany is a painting by Hans Baldung, who was a Renaissance artist who died in 1545. The painting, called 3 Ages of Woman and Death, depicted a skeletal figure holding an hourglass. When the painting went through an X-ray in 2003, due to insurance reasons, it was discovered that it was, in fact, altered early on to remove several extra limbs on the skeletal figure, the correlation being Slenderman's tendril trait. In Britain, there are 2 mythos matching Slenderman. The first is the Scottish Feardub, the Black Man. This legend is about an entity that haunted footpaths and forests at night. This creature had characteristics that are close to a more primitive Slenderman. This story was told to scare children to stay indoors at night and stop children wandering in the forest without adult supervision. And in England, you have the Clutchbone, which was a 7-foot monster which dates back to the early 1800s. This creature was described as being black in colour, with leathery textured skin. Its head consisted of a lit torch within a large, raised collar of material similar to rawhide. This more violent depiction included destruction by burning, disappearances, and even dismemberment of victims. What is interesting to note is that before there were sightings of the Clutchbone, people would witness lightning bolts created by severe weather conditions, leading to a theory that the creature might have arrived into this dimension by way of this natural phenomenon.